Welcome to the ultimate age of the geek, where we take deep dives into TV and film and take a look at these projects through nerd vision goggles. We are your hosts. I'm Quigs, and this is Dave.
Hello there. So they announced at Comic-Con the Marvel timeline, and at the end of this year, we'll be done Phase 4. So we really just have She-Hulk and Wakanda Forever. And then we're on to Phase 5. So, let's first talk about the end of Phase 4. She-Hulk, honestly, I think it looks cool, but I'm pretty much expecting to feel the same way I have about all the Disney Plus series. I'll probably enjoy it. I've enjoyed them all to some degree.
The only thing that is really, really drawing me for She-Hulk is that they have teased that Matt Murdock could show up and be a pretty significant part.
Yeah, it just feels to me like they're putting him in there, and he's going to be in like a tiny bit. If he's in more than like 10 minutes, I'll be shocked.
Well, that's what I thought too, but then they said that they kept. I read an article from one of the writers, and they said they kept writing him in and writing him into bigger and bigger scenes. And no one slapped their wrist. No one told them to stop because they couldn't use him. So they just kept doing it. So my hope is that he shows up more because she is a lawyer. And he does show up in a teaser in costume. So I'm hoping they do get some action together.
The end of the Comic-Con trailer, you don't see his face, but you see a figure kind of like roll, and then like you kind of see him with the batons. So maybe I'll be wrong,
Yeah.
but I honestly don't have like super high hopes for it. I think it will be fun and interesting on a like lazy afternoon level. So that personally, that's where I'm at with a lot of these Marvel shows. I'll keep watching them. I enjoy them enough to watch, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, you have to watch this thing. It's so good. It's so amazing. It's so well done. Like, I'm not feeling that way about a single one of these shows. If I was to recommend one Marvel show, it would either be WandaVision or Moon Knight. Because I think Oscar Isaac really, really takes Moon Knight to a level above most of the other Marvel shows have. But even so, I kind of still just feel the same about them all.
Wakanda Forever, on the other hand.
Oh my gosh. If the movie is even half as good as that trailer, then this will be the best Phase 4 project. That trailer blew me away. I watched it probably 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I hope it does not suffer from sophomore blues like Iron Man 2 did, but Black Panther was pretty good. I liked it a lot. Yeah, the only qualm I had with Black Panther was some CGI issues that I noticed in it.
Black Panther automatically hits top Marvel for me because it does something that most Marvel movies really suck at, which is have a good and compelling villain. I think Black Panther, Spider-Man Homecoming, Infinity War Endgame, the first Thor movie, because Loki, / the Avengers, which I think the Avengers is better than the first Thor. So I'll put the Avengers. Honestly, I really liked the Mandarin in Shang-Chi. Those are some of the best Marvel villains we've gotten. Most of these movies, they almost ignore the villains, which is what makes them so weak. I mean, in our Thor episode, we talked about how just spending an extra 15, 20 minutes on gore would have made the movie a million times better. They completely ignore the villains because they have this formula and it's worked for them at times. And people will keep watching it. So, they're going to make the money. They don't care. So why change? But like, it's really lost me in a lot of ways because they don't care about their villains. And Black Panther had an amazing villain. When you watch Black Panther, you can watch Killmonger and say, you are wrong. But at the same time, you have obviously come to this position for a real reason. And I do not know where I would be if I was in your shoes. Even though I know you're wrong, I don't know where I would be if I was actually in your shoes. And because of that, he's just a great villain. And all the other characters are great too. But I point out the villain because that's normally Marvel's massive weakness. And what I find so interesting about this trailer is that it seems that they've written T'Challa's death into it since Chadwick Boseman passed away, which I am in favor of. I know people have kind of been like, oh, like even some of Chadwick Boseman's family have said, oh no, you should recast T'Challa. And I don't know if I agree. I think not recasting T'Challa is the right move. They were like, well, Black Panther's more than just Chadwick. But I think the idea of writing in T'Challa's death, but still having a Black Panther, showing that it is a symbol, but that the Black Panther is the symbol, not T'Challa. And I think the conflict of the death of a ruler like that, we saw how those different tribes were all kind of at odds, and T'Challa was a unifying force. And so to show, and this is just in the trailer, but to show that those issues as well as other nations that might be involved. We saw those blue people, which I didn't completely understand. I've never really read the comics, so I don't know much about it.
There's some speculation online that they are Atlanteans.
Yeah, I heard about Namor, which I just know is the Marvel version of Arthur, basically. To have this like kind of conflict, this personal conflict, this national conflict, and the pain in the dialogue, just in the trailer of the Queen. Oh, it like hits you in the feels along with the music and everything. I mean, I'm telling you, if the movie is half as good as this trailer, it will be by far the best Marvel movie in Phase 4. Not even a competition.
Yeah, I mean, and there honestly isn't that much competition to begin with.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it was a phenomenal trailer, and I am very excited for Wakanda Forever. I think it will be excellent. I really have high hopes. Even though I've been burned in the past by Marvel, I've also been surprised. They've announced that phase 4 through 6, 1 through 3 was the Infinity Saga. Phase 4 through 6 is the Multiverse Saga. I have to say, as far as phase 4 goes, it seems very skimpy on the multiverse stuff. But, we'll see where it goes. We'll see what the plan is and where it ends up. We got Ant-Man and the Wasp, which they've said Kang will be in. So that will be interesting. I'm glad that we're going to get more Kang. After Loki, I was like, oh, I bet he's going to show up in Multiverse of Madness. I bet he's going to show up in at least one or two other things. We've got him in nothing. But at least he's going to be an Ant-Man and the Wasp. We got Secret Invasion, which I believe is going to be some more about the scrolls, because we've gotten little bits and pieces of that ever since Captain Marvel came out. And in Spider-Man Far From Home, we got Guardians 3. That will be fun. James Gunn is awesome. Guardians 2 was not my favorite, but I still have high hopes for 3. He has a great quality of work beyond, a few snafus. I'm not going to say that a director can't make a good movie just because he has one or two that are, lackluster. Even Spielberg has a couple.
One more quick note about Wakanda Forever. People have already been speculating because at the end of the trailer, you see somebody kneeling in the Black Panther suit, taking out the claws. People have taken that still and they are in depth analyzing the butt to see who might be in that suit. The jury's still out yet on that.
That's hilarious.
The guy who wrote the article is like, I know my Marvel butts. And he listed a couple potentials. And he says, but I can't be sure yet.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. So we got Guardians 3, we got Loki season 2, and Echo. I enjoyed the first season of Loki, felt it was too small. So, all these shows were planned a while back, and I don't believe we're the only ones making this complaint. So maybe these shows going forward will have a little bit longer run times. We'll see.
I hope so. Marvel, if you ever listen to this, take a note from Stranger Things.
Yeah, for real. And then July 28th, 2023, we have The Marvels, which I think is where we'll get our answers to the end credit scene of Miss Marvel, which should have obviously Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Monica Rambeau. So then November 3rd, Blade. I am excited for that because I like the old Blade movies, especially the first one and the second one. The third one is it. But
I want to see if they bring in some classic iconic Blade lines.
I really hope this is R rated, but I seriously doubt it is. I like
It would be hard to do it without making it an R rating.
if this comes out as PG-13, I'm just gonna be like, I'm not normally that guy that's like, oh no, it needs to be R rated. No, I'm not. But Blade, Ironheart, I have no idea anything about that.
So Ironheart, and they kind of tease her a little bit in the Wakanda Forever trailer. That person knocks the heart out of the iron. So she is kind of like the new Iron Man in the comics, basically.
Interesting. I noticed that the Iron Wars is not in this, which I know that was at one point talked about, which kind of made me sad because I really love Rhodey. He's one of my favorite kind of like secondary or tertiary Marvel characters, and would have loved to see him kind of get his own series. I think Don Cheadle is amazing. I hope this doesn't take that place, that we still get Iron Wars at some point. But yeah, we got Ironheart, we got Agatha, Coven of Chaos, which, considering what happens at the end of WandaVision, I feel like this should probably be a prequel, but maybe not. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, and I don't know if it is a prequel and if it has nothing to do with the main story, I might skip it because honestly, didn't really care that much about Agatha.
Yeah,
She was funny. She was used to great effect, I think, in WandaVision, but I didn't care that much.
yeah. We got Daredevil Born Again. I hope that they continue the tone of the original Daredevil series.
Hmm.
I do not think that they should make this for children. And if they do, again, they're really dropping the ball. This and Blade, they need to be more mature.
They're kind of doing a soft reboot of Daredevil. So they're bringing back Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, phenomenal in the Netflix series. So I love Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
And this project is probably the one project out of all that they announced that I am super excited for. This little fact made me even more excited. There's not going to be just 6 episodes in this Disney series. No, my friend, they're going to triple it. There's going to be 18 episodes of this series.
I mean, good. More than the fact that it's Daredevil, it makes me just excited to hear that we're getting a real series, that we're not just getting one of these weird, not a movie, not a series things. And if any of these shows had said, oh, yeah, we're going to be 18 episodes, and it wasn't Daredevil, if it was Agatha Coven of Chaos, I'd be like, great. I can't wait. I can't wait to get a real series out of this.
Right, but I was already excited to hear Daredevil, and then they said 18 episodes, and I freaked out. I got so excited.
I think my excitement for Daredevil will really depend on how good Blade is. If they screw up Blade, like if they make it PG-13 and it's just like super soft, it's not really what Blade should be, then I'm not going to have faith that they're going to be able to manage Daredevil. And then May 3rd, 2024, we got Captain America New World Order. So what should be Captain America 5, because Falcon and Winter Soldier really should have just been Captain America 4, which I'm excited for. I love Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan together. I hope Sebastian Stan is in this movie. I assume he is. I love the interactions they have together. I think that was the best part of that show. Thunderbolts, July 26th. Don't even have a clue what that is.
So, Thunderbolts, just having done a cursory glance at some lore, basically the team up of bad guys. It sounds to me like they are doing a Suicide Squad for Marvel, essentially.
I will again reserve judgment till I see Blade and Daredevil. Because if you're going to do a Suicide Squad esque thing, then you need to make it R rated. You can't have a team up of bad guys and then be all fluffy and nice. We learned that in the other Suicide Squad movies. That leads us into phase 6. We got November 8th, 2024. Fantastic Four. which I'm going to assume there's more in Phase 6 than that, but it's the only thing other than the Avengers movies that is currently listed.
Yeah, which if they get John Krasinski back for that,
I'm sure they will. It definitely seems that is the case. There has not been a good or even okay Fantastic Four movie yet, so, I'll reserve judgment, and it's not like Marvel has been the standard lately for me. So finally, as far as what was announced at Comic-Con, we got May 2nd, 2025 and November 7th, 2025, Avengers, the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. So this is going to be their Infinity War Endgame of the multiverse saga. I'm not a Marvel comic reader. I know a little bit about these things as far as the comics go, just from reading up on it. Hopefully, it's good. I hope it's as good as Infinity War and Endgame. I'm not feeling hopeful at the moment just because, like, right now, Marvel has been, But honestly, after phase one, I think I felt better than I do now. I wasn't thinking like, oh man, Marvel's amazing. I really enjoyed phase one. And I think some of the phase one stuff work better when you take into account what happens after. So maybe that will be how I'll feel about phase four, maybe as we get through phase 5 and 6, and especially to the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Maybe I'll look back at Phase 4 and be like, oh no, actually, I think they I'm not going to say set this up well because I don't think that's what they were intending necessarily. Maybe they were, but at least rehabilitated, right? Like think about Thor: The Dark World. That movie is not good. But I think some of the stuff that came after Thor: The Dark World made Thor: The Dark World better.
or at least legitimized it a little bit in the MCU lore.
Yeah, I think that it rehabilitated it to some degree. And maybe there will be things in phase 5, phase 6, and in these two Avenger movies that rehabilitate parts of phase 4 for me. So, overall, I think I'm cautiously excited for some things, pretty excited for a couple things. And, overall, I just feel like I just gotta experience it and take it as it comes and hold reserve judgment for later.
The only thing that concerns me about the end of this multiverse saga is we're getting two Avengers movies in the same year.
I mean, Infinity War and Endgame were only like almost exactly a year apart. So, 7 months apart is not really that crazy.
It seems crazy, especially with the quality of movies that we've been getting, and I hope that it's not it does I hope that it doesn't affect it
Yeah.
as much. So I'm just hoping for a strong finish like we had for the Infinity Saga.
So, other Comic Con news other than Marvel, we got Shazam and Black Adam, and pretty much zero from any other DC property, which isn't shocking because some of the actors, Ezra Miller, uh, some of the actors in the DC properties have definitely brought some negative attention to themselves and therefore their movies that are coming out next year.
You can say that again.
But Shazam and Black Adam both have movies coming out at the end of this year, and they released new trailers at Comic Con. What did you think about them?
It made me excited because we're getting to see more of the Shazam family. Because at the end of that first movie, all the kids were able to Shazam up.
Oh my gosh, the family dynamic in Shazam is amazing, and I'm excited to see more of that. I think that worked amazingly.
And I'm excited to see more of that. And I hope they continue the magic of that in the second movie. And I hope that the villains are stronger in the second movie than the villain in the first. Because he was decent, but it was very one note, very one dimensional villain. So I'm hoping we get a little bit more in the second movie. Black Adam, though, looks like it's going to be really fun. Hopefully, not the usual rock fare.
Yeah, I don't think it will be. I I'm excited for Black Adam. I think it'll be really great. And it's just so cool to see the Justice Society in a live action movie. Like Dr. Fate, I never ever dreamed that we would see a live action Dr. Fate. I'm excited for that. And Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate sounds amazing. Both these movies look really promising, and I really like the first Shazam movie. You know, Zachary Levi probably doesn't look as big as The Rock, but it's fine. He's supposed to be a kid in this body. I think that kind of works. But I mean, I can't wait to see them in a movie. It makes sense for them to be in the movie together, since for anyone who doesn't know, in the first Shazam movie, the wizard Shazam mentions that they gave the power to the wrong person one time. That was Black Adam. Now we have Black Adam. I want to see a movie with Black Adam fighting Shazam and Superman.
There was actually some booing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wanted to talk about that. That was really interesting. You know that it's got to be bad for The Rock, to be booed. He was probably furious. The Rock is not somebody who gets booed. Like, people love The Rock. He's very charismatic and fun, and his public personality is boisterous and enjoyable. And so when I first saw, like, oh, The Rock got booed, I was like, what? But yeah, so he said whoever plays Superman, and that question of who's playing Superman, people are furious. WB just needs to like listen to the people, because Henry Cavill is amazing as Superman. You can say whatever you want about Zack Snyder's movies, but Henry Cavill is great, and he deserves the role. He's great. I hope he comes back, and obviously a lot of other people do too, because they booed The Rock.
Yeah, I do wonder the same thing. When is WB gonna just give up and get him back? He is this generation Superman, but I do hope they bring him back. That would be nice. Another big thing, though, was the D&D movie Honor Among Thieves.
Oh man. When I heard this movie was coming out a while back, I was just like, well, that's gonna be crap.
Because the first one was awful.
Yeah, and also anytime they make stuff like this, 99 times out of 100, it's crap. There's exactly one movie based on a tabletop game that is good. You would think there are no movies based on tabletop games, but there's plenty. And there is exactly one that is good. Do you know what movie that is, Quigs?
No.
That movie is Clue. Clue is amazing. Every other tabletop game movie can suck it. They are awful. They're so bad. And so when I heard D&D movie, knowing how bad the first one is, knowing how bad all these other movies are, I was like, there's no way. No way is this good. Most production companies can't make video game movies good, let alone a tabletop game. The trailer was very promising. And also I watched the actual panel, and for one, the writers and directors, they did the movie Game Night, which is way better than it has any right to be. They also wrote Spider-Man Homecoming. They didn't direct it, but they wrote it. And that's my favorite Spider-Man movie. And so listening to them talk about the movie and what they were going with, and seeing the trailer a couple times, I'm excited for this movie. I think it's going to be good. I love that they chose classes for the party members that are a little less traditional. When I think of traditional party, right? You got your fighter, you got your rogue, you got your cleric for the healing, and then you got your wizard. None of those are in this. Here we got a bard, we got a sorcerer, we got a druid, we got a barbarian, and a paladin. The druid transformation with the owl bear, that was probably one of my two favorite moments in the trailer. The second being her using that portal through the floor, which I think is supposed to be Dimension Door.
That was cool. That was really cool. Either dimension door or teleport via plants.
Maybe, but that you're supposed to use like a big tree for that.
Yeah, but they already are kind of playing a little bit with the core rules of D&D because people are already saying like, oh, technically she can't transform into an owlbear because it's not a beast. So people are already kind of rules lawyering up.
Some people are theorizing. I've heard some chatter that they might be gearing up to release new subclasses based on the character's abilities in the movies. So maybe we will get a druid that can transform into an owlbear.
Nice.
And also, I forget who it was, one of the head guys at Wizard of the Coast, um, who basically makes the rules for 5e, responded online saying that he would allow someone at his table to transform into an owlbear if they wanted to. So, I don't think it's that loose. I think it's mildly loose. Rule of cool prevails. But yeah, I'm really excited. I think it looks awesome. I love the different dragons. We get the black dragon in the beginning, spewing the acid. We get that super chunky red dragon at the end. Yeah, the dragon representation looked great. How the paladin moves and works, and how the barbarian fights, and how the druid goes. Like all of that was awesome. We didn't get a whole lot of Chris Pine in how he performs in combat. We just got a lot of him outside of combat, which was hilarious. Chris Pine is great. I love Chris Pine.
Mm-hmm.
And we got very little of Justice Smith's sorcerer. There's a lot of cool moments in the trailer. The mimic, really fun to see. The jumping into the gelatinous cube to get away from the displacer beast.
I wanted to talk about that. So that whole scene that it looks like they're showing off there, Hugh Grant has these guys in a pit.
Is like a maze.
Yeah, all these blocks start moving around and creates a maze, and the gelatinous cube is a part of that maze. And to me, having them work in that kind of meta concept of this is a D&D movie, and we're seeing some ruler creating just a one shot, basically, fight for these characters. Oh man, it made me so excited.
I have high hopes for it. Like, I went from thinking this movie was going to be total crap to thinking, I think this movie might actually be good and funny, and we'll probably get more if it is. If it is as good as Game Night, it will 100% get more. Because Game Night was definitely a movie that was like, not everybody went to see it, even though it was so good. Because on paper, it looks awful, right? Like, on paper, this looks awful, but there's a huge audience for D&D.
Right, and with the rise of other avenues in media, so Critical Role, their show Vox Machina on Amazon Prime, and Dimension 20, there's just so many rises of this nerd culture.
Yeah, lots of streams on tabletop games, and especially RPGs, most specifically D&D. And this trailer was by far the biggest surprise win of Comic-Con to me. Don't get me wrong, Wakanda Forever, that trailer was just phenomenal. Probably the best trailer at Comic-Con. But this was the biggest surprise because I kind of expected Wakanda Forever to be good, and it still exceeded that expectation. But this, I expected to be total crap, and I loved the trailer. We got new trailers for Rings of Power and
House of the Dragon, yeah.
I thought both those trailers were really cool, really interesting. Jury's out, waiting for those start very soon. So I'm just really looking forward to those starting up, and we'll cover those when they end.
I think that's it. I think that's all that we had, all that we were excited about for Comic-Con, at least.
Yeah, that covers Comic-Con.
Next week, we're going to be talking about Predator, the 80s movie, and the prequel, Prey. Although technically it's a sequel prequel, but we're going to be talking about those together.
Yeah, I think I'm very excited. I haven't watched Predator in a long time, and I've heard some really good buzz about Prey.
So we'll talk about that next week, but that's all for today's episode. Please subscribe, follow, and leave a review on whatever podcasting medium you use, and please check out our YouTube channel for additional content. Join us next week, and thank you for listening to Age of the Geek. So we're kind of new to this podcast thing, but we could not have gotten started without Buzzsprout. They make things so easy, such as telling us what equipment is necessary for a podcaster, even a beginning podcaster like ourselves. They even offer you the ability to blast your podcast out to every major distributor. And right now they're having a promotion that if you sign up to use one of their very cheap plans, you can get a $20 Amazon gift card to go towards maybe equipment. So give Buzzsprout a try today and click the link in our description.